Pirates rode into St. Louis yesterday on a winning streak, and they kept it going. And here tonight, they'll try to make it 6 in a row as the Cardinals will play host to the Pirates here at Busch Stadium. And welcome into the booth. Joe Block along with Bob Walk with you here this evening. And tonight it's going to be a special night because we get to see the Major League debut of left-hander Steven Brault.
Well, you know, we've had a lot of these young guys come up this year, and it's just thank goodness that they've been able to stockpile all these pitchers, all these starting pitchers down at AAA level that have been dominating the way they have, and Brault is just another one of them. I can't wait to see him pitch. I've heard nothing but good things about this young man. He really has great command, and he's a great athlete. I usually don't say this about a young starter coming up, but I can't wait to see him hit.
Yeah, he's been a good hitter in his minor league career, 400 throughout his career, so we'll see how he does here tonight. And of course, the All-Stars being named today as well, and the Pirates will have at least one representative.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark Melancon, does anybody mean more to a club than he means to us? It's just fantastic what he has done in that closer's role. And again, this year, you look at the numbers, he is just unstoppable. He goes out there to shut down a game. It's over with, and definitely deserves this All-Star selection.
And outfielder Starling Marte going to be part of the final vote as well. We'll talk more about that as we continue here from St. Louis. Pirates and the Cardinals in just a bit here from Busch Stadium. In St. Louis, and the Pirates and the Cardinals here in a moment. And today there was a report out of Chicago, and the Pirates felt the need to address it. And Frank Coonerly, the Pirates president, issuing this statement: "We have been made aware of the allegation that has been made against Jung Ho Kang. We take allegations of this type extremely seriously, and pursuant to the joint MLB/MLBPA policy on such matters, this matter is exclusively before the Commissioner's office at this time. We have and will continue to cooperate fully with the Commissioner's office." as a result of the ongoing police investigation. We cannot comment further at this time. We've also advised our staff and our players that they should not comment on the matter either. We all need to be respectful to the police investigation of a very serious allegation. That's from Pirates president Frank Coonelly about Jung Ho Kang. And we've got baseball coming up for you next. It's the Pirates and the Cardinals here from St. Louis right after this.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network, Health for All, and by Day Automotive. We're gonna make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Stephen Brault making his major league debut tonight. Just a while ago, leaving the bullpen. And the first throws, literally, of the major leagues for the left-hander. And the family making their way in from Southern California. El Cajon, California, where Brault grew up, near San Diego. And they have quickly donned all the Pirate gear for their family member tonight. Here's the RAV4 lineup for the Buccos in support of Brault, and it's Jaso Polanco and McCutchen, with Starling Marte cleaning up. David Freese, the number 5 hitter, the former Cardinal, hits Leake very well, with Harrison Mercer. Eric Fryer making his first Pirate start this time around, and then Stephen Brault on the mound for the Buccos.
Take a look at Leake's numbers on the season. His first year in that Cardinal uniform. He's just a little less than 100 innings. Nothing all that bad. The 4.13 ERA is pretty good. The only thing is he's lost more than he's won. But the Pirate hitters certainly know what to expect when they see Leake. We've seen so much of him over the years.
Let's take a look at the Honda defense for St. Louis. Tommy Pham back in the lineup. He was scratched yesterday with right shoulder stiffness. Holiday and Piscotty flanking him in the outfield. Peralta, Diaz, Carpenter, Jerko at first again with the lefty Brault. Brian Pena doing the catching for St. Louis today. And quickly ahead, 2 strikes. There's Pena, who is just coming back, having left knee surgery that kept him out for most of the season. So Yadier Molina gets the day off. Now ball and 2 strikes. It is hot and sultry here in St. Louis. It's 90 degrees at game time.
Feels like 100.
Yeah, very humid. And we'll see if that factors into the pitchers at all having to work.
Well, both these guys are very athletic for pitchers. Put that nicely. So I think they'll be able to handle it.
Jaso into the sun field in right and retired by Piscotty. Now Gregory Polanco, and last night ripping one to right, line drive home run, and then for good measure putting one down the left field line. First multi-home run game of the career of Gregory Polanco.
Now there'll be more where that came from. He is just starting to really develop into that player, that great player that he's going to be.
And they just announced the All-Star game participants. There's Brault waiting for his first chance to be on a big league mound. Sitting next to Chad Kuhl, who just made his debut. Polanco retired for the second. So between Polanco and the next guy, Andrew McCutchen, who's been an All-Star perennially lately, neither of those men will be in San Diego for the game. Pirates will have at least one representative, as Mark Melancon named to the squad just a little bit ago. And that's the guy who might be able to get in. You can still vote at pirates.com/vote. As Starling Marte, part of the final vote, where one of 5 men get to be put into the All-Star game.
Well, he's certainly deserving as anybody. You look at his body of work.
And Andrew McCutchen with a 2-out single.
Now what Marte can do with the bat, he hits well over 300. Nobody runs the bases better than he does. The stealing of the bases, the gold glove play in the outfield, the fear that other runners have of his arm. I mean, he's the absolute complete package out there, and hopefully he'll get enough votes that he'll be able to go to San Diego also, because he's very deserving.
It would be his first All-Star game. Brandon Belt, Ryan Braun, Jake Lamb, and Trevor Story are the other 4 contestants, so to speak, for the National League final vote. And he's had those good numbers. Not in the home run department, you see just 6, but 321. He's been consistently in the league leaders with batting average, with stolen bases, and of course we know he's a Gold Glover. And a look at our barrel league leaders as well. Tops in infield hits in the National League, second in steals, multi-hit games, tied for 3rd, and also hit with a pitch a lot. McCutchen just back on that toss over.
Jerko looking into the Cardinal dugout. He wants them to take another look at this. Very close play. We're waiting for the Cardinals to make their decision on whether they want it reviewed or not. And they do. They want it reviewed.
Mike Matheny would like to challenge whether McCutchen was picked off, and if so, that would allow Starling Marte to lead off the next inning instead of batting with a man aboard. So very early
they're
on.
asking Kutch right there. You can see they're talking about a balk, of whether he flinched or something before he came over there to influence Kutch towards second base.
Well, you can't see where his hand is in the base.
No, you can't, certainly you can't overturn the call because of that view, because you can't see the base.
They've got all the available views to the folks in New York. Remember, this game is also on national television tonight as well, so there will be 3 different feeds available to the folks in New York. And if there's a certain angle that tells them one way or the other, they can use that. Now, if the Cardinals do not win this challenge, they're going to be without the ability to challenge the rest of this ball game here in the first inning. So Matheny must be pretty short. And everyone looking at the scoreboard here.
Whoever made the call that was looking at the video has to be pretty sure.
Yeah, that's correct.
Matheny is at the, the mercy of whoever's in charge of looking at the video behind the scenes.
Well, there's a great deal of trust that goes there. And it said that McCutchen is out and the call is overturned. So the Cardinals retain their challenge. McCutchen picked off to end the first inning. St. Louis coming to bat against Steven Brault. Here in St. Louis, and the Cardinals coming to bat, and the Brault family, all anticipation.
It's been a lot of fun this year, seeing the families and the players themselves out making these first time out there. It's great to see.
We've seen a good deal of this lately. Here's the Cardinals lineup for Mike Matheny and Matt Carpenter, customary man right there, leading all of the National League in on-base percentage. Aledmys Diaz, the talented rookie, with Holiday and Piscotty to follow. Peralta, Jerko gets another start at first. Tommy Pham back in the lineup. Brian Pena just back off the DL a week ago, and Mike Leake facing Steven Brault, 24-year-old out of El Cajon, California. First big league pitch. And a good start.
See his numbers brought to you by Hyundai, and very good numbers. He's pitched well and deserves to be here. As everybody they've brought up, we've been able to say that about. Nobody's getting pushed. They're earning it. Sometimes you have injuries and stuff like that. You have to bring up guys that maybe haven't been doing that good of a job down in the minor league level. It's just what has to be done, but that's not the case with the Pirates.
Now behind 2-1 on Carpenter. This Cardinals lineup third best in baseball in runs scored per game, so he'll have a challenge in that regard. It's the inner edge. Well, that is one of the things that we saw in spring training, and the Pirates continued to tout about Brault, is that great command. And he just misses.
Really? Well, maybe says the umpire, but that was right there. I mean, you couldn't throw a better pitch.
Bob Davidson working the plate today. He's going to get his man. So first man that Stephen Brault faces in the major leagues. He retires 4-3. And there's a lot of excitement for Stephen Brault pitching here. Our Point Park tweets and Ariano wishing Stephen Brault some good luck. Austin, I think he played with Stephen. Now gets to see him in a major league uniform, and Palto watching and wishing him good luck, and we all wish Stephen Brault good luck. Not only in San Diego are they cheering him on, but also in certain parts of Denver, where Brault attended college at Regis University. That's where he played. He is the first major league player from Regis, a Division II school in Denver.
That's no hard high, I guess.
What do you got, about 15 guys currently pitching in the major leagues from Hart High School?
Yeah, it's a little bit of exaggeration, but we'll leave it at that.
3-1 now on Aledmys Diaz. And it gets a strike call.
Yeah, that one was one right on the edge that Bob called a strike. Borderline.
Now he went to school in Denver, did Stephen Brault, because he wanted to be able to hit as well. So I'm curious to see when he gets his first chance at the plate. He was a center fielder and a pitcher. He walks Diaz here.
Stay within yourself. Our first Rivers Casino tip to win, and every young guy goes out there has to be convinced, you know, you don't have to do more than you normally do. That's what got you here. That's what he needs to do. And inside info, we had Fryer behind the plate. He, better than anybody else here, knows what gets these guys out. Trust him. Do what he says.
Eric Fryer was with the Cardinals all season until the Pirates picked him up. First game with the Pirates for Fryer since 2012. Making his first start this time around. A little bit of experience behind the plate for Brault. Now Matt Holliday hitless in his last 11. Undoubtedly, there has to be a little wow factor at some point when you face a guy like Holliday, who's been around, who's been an all-star for many years. A guy that you grew up watching if you're Stephen Brault, right?
And that's why it's so tough to stay within yourself, because you think these guys are the best of the best, and now I got to be better than I've ever been. Well, there are going to be some adjustments you have to make, because it is tougher up here in the big leagues than it is, you know, just common sense. But that's down the road from now. You can't make those adjustments before you pitch your first game. You got to find out, okay, I've done this, you know, quite a bit in my life, and it's worked in the minor leagues. Not working so good up here. Maybe I need to adjust what I do in that regard. It, you know, could be a number of things. You know, trying to throw, you know, getting guys to chase change-ups down. Maybe, you know, my change-up, I need to make a better spot with it. When I bounce it, I don't get as many chases up here. You know, the little tiny things like that that you have to adjust to.
One out here in the first. That's a foul ball.
The guys you normally see that might have a little more trouble in that first start, and this hasn't really been the case with us, as the guys with the power type stuff, because then they try and throw a little too hard, and that gets you out of your rhythm, gets you away from what you do best. the guys that are more pitchers, you know, that rely more on, you know, changing speeds and their good control in and out, up and down. I think in their first game they have a little more advantage over just a power guy that's going to try and just blow the fastball by these big league hitters.
0-2 right into the glove of Jaso, and a double play. And so a perfectly placed ball, 2 outs there for Broughton, and he'll face the minimum through his first big league inning. Nice snare by Jaso, and Broughton through the first unscathed.
Tuesday UPMC scoreboard, 0-0 as the Buccos come to bat. I'm Robbie Mikowski. Chad Kuhl was our guest on Twitter Tuesday, and he was asked by Justin Topa, what is your favorite late night snack?
I lived with Justin Topa during spring training, and you know, we would always, you know, try to put together a protein meal kind of before bed, and he came up with sleepy cakes. It's our own business venture. You know, it'll, you know, come to fruition here soon, I guess. But it's just like a pancake. You know, it has some protein in it, some protein powder mixed in. He makes an incredible batch, so that's my favorite late night snack.
And Justin Topa is a pitcher in the Pirates organization who lives with Chad Kuhl in Bradenton during spring training. So that's their late night creation, Joe. And everyone else, keep your eye out for sleepy cakes one day if they hit the market. You heard it here first.
That's amazing that they used your nickname for their product, Robbie. That's
thanks, Joe.
Sleepy cake. He only said sleepy. I thought it was a pancake wrapped around a piece of turkey. You know?
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
It's got protein.
Yeah.
Puts you to sleep. Sleepy cake.
The ovation here for David Freese.
Boy, every time he comes to the plate, every game we've been here so far, they truly. It goes on and on.
He's truly humbled by this, he said. Every first time he comes up in a game. And Yadier Molina last night stepping in front of home plate so that
Freese tried to stop him, but Molina would have nothing of it. He said, nope, we're going to pause here and let you enjoy this applause.
Yeah. Classy move there. David Freese, of course, a longtime Cardinal, grew up here in St. Louis, and a World Series hero for them. When he first came here with the Pirates, it was his first game because remember he played those 2 years with the Angels. They never came to St. Louis, so he was expecting something at that point. But after that, he thought that would be through. But no, they still remember David Freese.
Every game.
And say what you want about you know, how we want the Cardinals to fare. That's different, but this is a classic group of fans here as well. Freeze down on strikes.
Clapping again. I'm not sure if it's for Freeze or Leak.
Yeah. Well, now they're happy that Freeze has struck out. So now Harrison coming in with a 5-game hitting streak for number 5. '27th start for Mike Leake against the Buccos. He's going to have another quick inning. Just a 9-pitch inning. 20 pitches through the first 2 for Mike Leake. And Stephen Brault back to the mound. And we'd like to welcome Comcast viewers in the Scranton area. Thanks for watching and rooting on your Pittsburgh Pirates. All of us at Root Sports and the Pirates appreciate your support. Cardinals and Pirates are scoreless here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Bob Davidson working the plate today. And Stephen Brault making his major league debut. Faced the minimum in the 1st. Piscotty to lead things off. Deep to right. Blanco drifting back, and it's off of his glove. And Piscotty running hard all the way will end up at 3rd base.
Well, Joe, I think you said it when you said drifting. It did not really turn and go after that ball initially. I assume that'll go as an error.
There's nothing it can't. It has to be an error. That was an easy fly ball.
Well, but they haven't put it up as an error, which makes me think that they're thinking about it.
Well, they've put a hit on the scoreboard for the Cardinals, which is silly.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's silly. That's not a triple. And Polanco would tell you the same thing. He knows he should have made that.
Well, it hit right in the middle of his glove.
Now the Cardinals with a chance, and we'll see how Brault responds here right after a misplay behind him.
The best thing he can do right now is ignore it. Just in his mind right now, think Peralta's leading off the inning. There's nobody on base. Just pitch to Peralta and Don't even worry about the guy at third. Whatever happens with him, just go get the hitter.
He's fallen behind 3-0. This is always a test for a young pitcher, especially a guy in his second inning in the major leagues.
Looks kind of like a beehive or something, or honeycomb.
And kind of a futuristic tattoo, as he calls it, with some circuits in there.
Oh, I do see the circuits now on the inside. Yeah.
And the glove here, it looks like that's Jeff Locke's glove. Something borrowed, something new, right? I guess.
I don't know why he would have Locke's glove unless. Did he forget to bring his?
We didn't know that Brault was going to start until after the game yesterday. So there's Locke, who
maybe he thought he was getting called up to DH. We're still in Oakland.
Did you have one glove that you would use, or I know fielders are very particular about their gloves.
In my entire career, I maybe had 3 gloves.
Were you very particular with it? I mean,
yeah, I used the same glove until I couldn't use it any longer. They would have to fall apart for me to change gloves.
It's a strike 3 call on Peralta.
A good pitch right there at the bottom of the strike zone. How about that comeback from 3-0? Watch this, just nick the bottom of the strike zone. Good call, Bob. That's a tough one for an umpire to call too, because he knows he's going to hear it from the opposite bench, because by the time the ball gets back to the catcher's glove where it's caught, it's going to look low.
Yeah, strike is where it crosses home
plate, and that breaking ball is on its way down. So by the time it gets back to the glove, sure, it's going to look low.
Now quickly ahead, 2 strikes. Stephen Brault out of Grossmont High School, El Cajon. Now the Cardinals get on the board first. If they won't make it an unearned run, it's an undeserved run, but one nonetheless. Jed Jerko with the RBI.
Well, you see the location. Mid-thigh, middle of the plate. On an 0-2 pitch with a runner at third, you're looking for a strike out there. That's a no-no. That's a no-no at any time.
Piscotty's fly ball lofted out toward right. Drop.
And that's not an adjustment. That's not an adjustment you need to make at this level. I mean, that's something that no matter where he is pitched, he knows you can't put 0-2 pitches in the middle of the plate, and especially with somebody in scoring position like that. That was just a miss on his part. Physical mistake.
Jerko not a threat to run. Now even up on Pham. Jerko without a stolen base attempt, the West Virginia product. Grew up at Morgantown, played there in his college days.
I wonder if Pham will ever be a Philly.
Why? Because of you would call the fans the Phmatics?
That's a PH thing.
Oh, okay. Like balance, you mean? Or
yeah, PH. Like you got to add some baking soda if it gets a little off.
Okay. He's no Al Kaline, though. It's high level stuff there, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Good one.
All right. Here's the 2-1. We got to stop. There's the strike. Pham yesterday not in the lineup, right shoulder stiffness. Brault after a little misfortune in the field behind him. Got Peralta to strike out. And he strikes out Tommy Pham for out number 2.
Oh, 93. A little bit probably better than average velocity, not much. But you get ahead, you locate. You got that ball up there, a little above the belt. Was able to throw by him. I'm sorry, Joe. Did I cut you off there? You were going to say something?
Well, I was going to ask you. Now, what's the difference between, say, the ball that Jerko hit that caught too much of the plate, and that one that also caught a lot of the plate?
The difference is when you're ahead in a hitter like that with 2 strikes. That wasn't an 0-2 pitch, but to get to the real answer to that is that was a fastball. And when you get ahead of the hitter, they get in their 2-strike. You know, they're looking to be defensive and thinking about hitting the ball the other way. And so when you throw a fastball to them in that situation, you might be able to get it by him. Where you throw something off speed, well, that's just perfect for what they're trying to do. And if you happen now to throw something off speed that's in the middle of the plate, you're doing them a big favor. Now, if it's a 3-1 count and they're out there hunting fastball, you know, they're swinging early. Okay, now you throw that fastball where Pham had it, they might get right on it. And you get away with maybe an off-speed pitch that's a better strike because they're going to be a little out in front. Maybe you might not get a swing and miss, but maybe you'll get off the end of the bat, you'll get soft contact somewhere. When you're ahead in the count, they're being defensive, and they got a good shot to hit the slow stuff if you make a bad pitch with it.
Just told that that ball hit to Polanco rightfully changed to a 3-base error. So that run will be unearned, and that will be all the Cardinals will get in the second. So Stephen Brault through 2, Cardinals up 1-0. Injury update and good news from Garrett Cole, who had his first rehab start tonight with Indianapolis, and 3 scoreless innings, didn't walk a batter, struck out 6, recovering from that right triceps strain, and so looks like good news from Mr. Cole.
Yeah, it looks like he is ready and raring to go. Look at that number, 6 strikeouts.
1-0 Cardinals here in the third. Cole leaving a game against these Cardinals about 4 weeks ago back at PNC Park, so on the mend and getting closer to returning. And the reason Stephen Brault getting the start tonight, Jamison Tyone on the DL, very much just a precautionary measure, nothing serious at all.
Maintenance deal.
Yeah, they call it right shoulder fatigue, but Pirates were going to skip some of his starts here in the second half of the season anyway. Just a good chance to take a break. He's fine. He could have pitched tonight. Jordy Mercer, Fryer, and then Brault. Mike Leake wearing that single-digit number 8. There's Tyone. So on the 15-day DL, he'll be eligible to return right after the All-Star break. So might miss 2 starts. That's it.
Well, most rookies, nowadays, in the modern style baseball, you really watch their innings pitched, and so now you have a young rookie that not only is a rookie, and if he stays for the entire year, he would pitch more than he ever has.
And the 3-1 put out of Mercer.
But he's also coming off a couple injuries where he has missed a great deal of time. So it makes all the sense in the world for him to be very careful with him and pick some spots to where they can give his arm a little rest and let it recoup. This is a great idea, I think, going into the All-Star break, like you said, so it doesn't even. There's 4 days you're not even really missing. So.
And an opportunity too for Tyone perhaps to stretch those innings out enough so that he can pitch the entire season too.
Yep. You don't get just shut down, early on and can't go anymore at all.
Here's Eric Fryer, the former Cardinal, former Pirate.
Hopefully we're playing some very significant games in the last couple weeks of September. All hands on deck.
Now Fryer was just with the Cardinals, not as probably having as many memorable moments as Freese. But he hit 368 in his short time backing up Yadier Molina, the man that took his job squatting right next to him there in Pena. But it was Pena's job all the while. He was brought in as a free agent with the Cardinals, but had missed first few months of the season with left knee surgery. So Fryer brought in. Pirates picked him up off waivers, and he and Eric Kratz will split the duties for now. But good news regarding Francisco Cervelli. He caught a simulated game thrown by Ryan Vogelsong as Brault waiting for his first licks at the plate. High chop. Fryer runs pretty decently for a catcher, but he's out.
The Pirates have a very athletic battery tonight with Fryer behind the plate. Brault on the mound.
They can bring the whole family this Sunday for a Kids Day as the Pirates entertain the Cubs at 1:35. All kids 14 and younger receive Francisco Cervelli wall decals presented by Allegheny Health Network. And you can go to pirates.com and get your tickets. Come on out as the Pirates will return home this weekend. Game 2 of this 4-game set against the Cardinals. And Steven Brault, his first big league plate appearance. He's also a good hitting pitcher. Liriano. Well, there's Cervelli on the left. Brault 8 for 20 in the minor leagues, hitting at .400. And the whole reason that Regis University was so attractive to him, a Division II school in Denver, coming all the way from San Diego, where his family came from tonight to see him come to the plate, was because they let him play center field in addition to pitch.
Lake's going to think he's pitching to himself.
Yeah, Mike Leake, a good hitter as well. But he was a third-team All-American outfielder in Division II. So it wasn't just a hitter, he was a very good one. And he's got his first major league hit. Stephen Brault. And there's a souvenir he'll have forever.
There it goes.
He batted .400 in the minors. He's batting .1,000 in the majors. And it keeps the inning going. It'll bring John Jaso to the plate. Stephen Brault with his first major league hit. But the Cardinals so far up 1-0. First major league hit. Ground single and his first plate appearance.
He took a fastball away right back to the middle. He's kind of using that same two-strike approach that we were just talking about, where he's not trying to get out there and pull fastballs. The fastball he fouled off. He fouled off down outside third base. So his approach is like a regular hitter. I'm sure one of the reasons why he can hit as well as he does and makes everybody so happy.
That's the souvenir.
Yeah, there it is.
That will go up on the mantle.
Yep, somewhere.
Mr. Brault. Well, meanwhile, back to the mound for him, and now he's going to face Mike Leake, also a good hitter. .210 in his career. He's hit 6 home runs.
Ever since he got here, he's been one of the better hitters in the National League for a pitcher. Oh, got a hitter's number. Great.
He was drafted 8th overall and wore number 8 at Arizona State. When he signed with the Cardinals, he said, "Oh, I might as well go with that number if it's available."
Very seldom is a single-digit number available. The lower the number, the tougher they are to come by.
The Yankees literally do not have any that aren't retired.
But even if they're not retired, they're usually not available.
Right.
Because there's somebody already wearing that. All the lower numbers. That's why some guys they'll ask for a number in the 50s or something, because they know wherever they go they've got a good shot at getting it. They don't have to change numbers.
Those were the retired numbers of the Cardinals. Just saw Red Changes a few minutes ago before we got on the air tonight. There he is, a Hall of Famer. Managed the Cardinals and still looking great. Tony La Russa.
He's here tonight.
Got to see him tonight down on the field.
I'm down there talking to Greg.
He must have been next door then. I didn't get a chance to see it. One of the great managers this game's ever seen. And Brault gets the better of Lee. Third strikeout for Stephen Brault. All right, now so the second time around in the order, all these Cardinals have gotten a look. Now, Brault at 46 pitches. He has only once exceeded 90. It is a very warm night.
And when he came in off the bases, he right to the ice chest and was hitting the water. It's going to be a tough night to stay hydrated. All these guys, but especially the pitchers and the catchers.
See that?
It's soaked.
Yeah, uniform. You don't see the sweat because it's all sweat already. Forearms glistening, face.
And some pitchers, they'll go change shirt a couple of times in the course of a ball game. Some guys don't really care. They just figure, well, it doesn't matter. But
that's without the humidity.
Yeah, that's. I looked earlier. It said, you know, had to get that feels like number. The feels like number was right on 100.
Brault has settled in, throwing strikes. You got Carpenter to bounce out his first time. The lone Cardinals All-Star. All-Star games, All-Star teams being announced today. Pirates will have one, but maybe two All-Stars. As Mark Melanson is in. And that get a piece of Steve Piscotty. Really whistled in there. Starling Marte is part of the National League final vote, and you could vote at pirates.com/vote and still get Starling Marte to the All-Star game, but you only got a couple of days. Hit well out to him. Try that athletic play.
Well, that's the kind of catch that, you know, when he goes after it, he might make. You know, a lot of guys, okay, there's no chance, but with Marte, if he would have been there just a little earlier, he might have been able to get high enough to get the glove at the top of that black railing that's along the top of the wall. He has made some fantastic catches.
Gold Glover. That nice patch on the back of his glove.
Knows we were looking at. He's hiding it from you.
Yeah, well, very humble. There it is.
Yep.
Very shiny. You only get that if you're a Gold Glover. 2-2 from Brault. He struck him out. 4 strikeouts for Stephen Brault.
Pretty impressive. A little slider down and away. Able to put away what I think one of the best hitters in this league.
Well, there's no doubt about Carpenter. Yeah, leading the league in on-base percentage, a 300 hitter, on pace for 100 RBIs out of the leadoff spot. He sent him down twice tonight. Now Diaz, who walked. Carpenter, the Cardinals All-Star representative. It's because the Cubs took them all. Yeah, the Chicago fans voting 5 starters for the Cubs, and the entire infield is going to be Cubs from third to first. First time since the '63 Cardinals that's happened in the All-Star game. They'll have 7 representatives in all.
And there wasn't many National League teams back then.
That's right.
So it's even
10
more difficult now.
Yeah. And he's walked Diaz twice. A two-out base runner for the Cardinals benefited from an error back in the second. Now Holiday lined out right into a double play right up the first base line right to Jaso. Doubled off Diaz back at the first. This big stage for Brault is no stranger to the bright lights. Not just pitching but also singing, as throughout high school, his college days, and his time in the minor leagues, he's, at least during the off seasons, he is a lead vocalist for a rock and roll band. Was a vocal performance major in college as well, so he's used to performing in front of people. Diaz running, pitches a strike, fires through his length.
Nothing Fire could do. Diaz practically had a running start. It's one of the things that, you know, most lefties aren't quite as quick to the plate as right-handers are. They rely on deception. You see the big leg kick. By the time that ball hits Fryer's glove, Diaz has already covered half of the 90 feet.
And Fryer has been a good defensive catcher this year. 4 out of now 7 caught stealing. And a good stop there. One from Brault. Now even. So Brault's pitch count up to 62 here with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Unless the Pirates want him to go into uncharted waters, his evening is to be a little shorter. Full on Holiday. Would have to face Stephen Piscotty, who lofted one to right that clanged off the glove of Polanco for a 3-base error. That's how the Cardinals got their run. Diaz is in to score, and a 2-out single by Holiday doubles the Cardinals' lead.
Cardinals doing a good job playing a little small ball here. Base on balls, and then they steal a base. And just a kind of a well-placed ground ball. Not that you can hit the ground ball where you want to, so in that regard, it's a lucky ground ball, which is a big part of baseball.
So Holiday's 51st run batted in, and Ray Searage will make his first visit to the mound.
You might be able to control where you hit the ground ball as far as pull it on the ground or hit it the other way on the ground, but you can't guide it in between infielders.
And to settle down Brault a little bit. A couple of 2-out base runners. So very welcoming over there at first.
If you're going to be a first baseman, you gotta be a talker. It's part of the position. When you're going through the different job skills for all the different positions, that's got to be one for first. Got to be able to hold a conversation.
It's something we didn't evaluate enough, I think, when Jason signed with the Pirates.
Oh, it's turned out, though, it looks like he's pretty good at it.
Popped him up. Right after the mound visit. Get out of the inning. Cardinals add another with 2 outs. And through 3 from St. Louis, the Cardinals up 2-0.
It's time for the Toyota RAV4th inning. The all-wheel drive RAV Hybrid has performance that will make you rethink hybrid. Let's go Bucks!
Here we are back at Busch Stadium. 4th inning begins. Buccos trailing 2-0. We're pleased to be joined by a very happy set of parents to Stephen Brault, Father Dan, Mom Amy. You guys pulled this together. Amy, within the last couple days, 17 people here all made their way from Southern California. How to describe this entire night, including your son's first big league hit and his first plate appearance?
Awesome. I just can't believe it. It's amazing, and we're so excited.
What was your reaction when you got the call that he was going to the big leagues?
Well, we had a family reunion that day with 60 people in our backyard, and it was winding down, and we had about 15 left, and he called, and they all got to hear it on the speakerphone, and we all just clapped and cheered, and we're so excited, and then just said, where do we have to be and when, and we'll get there.
Amazing stuff. As we talked to Dad, what was the flight like, and how much were you guys floating once you found out?
Oh, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy 48 hours. The flights out here were good. We didn't have any trouble, but we had a lot of fun getting everybody from Minnesota and Arkansas, Illinois. We got people from all over the country here.
So your son was a player to be named later in a trade from the Baltimore Orioles involving Travis Snyder. How did your son, what qualities does he exhibit that allowed him to vault his way through the system so quickly from single A here to the big leagues in less than 2 seasons?
Well, yeah, he's really focused on it. He's had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder since high school when none of the scouts even talked to him. And so I think that's one of the things that's been driving him, is that I'm going to show those guys what they missed out on.
Good stuff from him. Now, Mom, I'm going to have you tell this story. If you haven't noticed on the camera, Stephen Brault tonight is actually wearing Jeff Locke's glove. Mom, do you want to explain why?
You know, I just heard that myself, that he left his glove in Indy. So how did that happen? I have no idea.
Was he maybe too excited, just forgot to bring his glove with him?
Possibly. That could be it. And he didn't know what to pack, and I guess he just forgot that one very important thing.
So everybody that's wondering, that's the reason why, because he forgot it. Now, Joe Block, our play-by-play guy, was discussing earlier why he went to Regis University, and one of the main reasons was the ability to hit, and he's proven that he's a good hitter. What kind of athlete is he all around?
Oh, he's a great athlete all around. He was, you know, football player, basketball player as a kid, doing all those things, played soccer. But, you know, baseball was obviously his first love, and he's always been a hitter. Always been a better hitter than a pitcher. He wasn't a pitcher until his junior year of college.
That must say a lot about his athletic ability. Now, last thing is his inclination for music. What kind of talents does he have with the microphone?
He is a great singer. He went to Regis because he could do music and baseball. It wasn't just that he could hit in baseball, because they would let him do music and baseball. and nobody else would let him do that. So that was the driving force behind the Regis decision.
Now that's some incredible stuff. There's your full Stephen Brault bio right there, Joe and Bob. How about that?
I love it, Robbie. Thanks. Yeah, forgot the glove in Indy. Brought the bat, though. Singling in his first big league at bat. And now Starling Marte trying to get Stephen Brault some runs. It's Jed Jerko who swung over to third base. He throws it to Matt Adams, who's now in the game for Johnny Peralta, who left. And it's still 2-0 St. Louis. The Gateway Arch, not far from here, right on the banks of the Mississippi. Now Johnny Peralta is out of this ball game, and right there a wince and a grimace. And Peralta, who missed a good bit of time beginning this season, not feeling very comfortable there, and out of the ball game. So Matt Adams batting in his place. Mike Matheny switching over Adams and Jerko. Adams, who has hit lefties pretty well this year, .333, and does put a number on that one, but Marte able to corral it.
Looked like he's fighting the lights on that one.
Twilight here now.
He was looking up into those lights like he was looking up into the sun. You see him talking to Koch about it after he threw the ball in.
Starling Marte could be an all-star this year, part of the all-star final vote, and you still have an opportunity to vote him into the all-star game. Pirates.com/vote. Jerko, who had a run scoring single back in the second. That followed the three-base error by Polanco. Dropping down from the side there. A little different look from Brault. Adam Wainwright, who will pitch the finale of this series, Thursday matinee. Hot night here in St. Louis. 90 at game time. Very humid and sultry. Popped him up. And Jaso can't find it.
How about Brault being at first base on that.
That's great heads up. With no one covering first base. Aso trying to make the play on that.
I don't think you'll see many guys, you know, thinking about running over there and covering the first base bag on that pop fly.
That was his first instinct too.
Yeah, he's right there right now.
He almost get an out of that with Jerko rounding. Probably should have gotten it out the first time around. Now who wants it? There's Polanco.
That one a little higher. Time for somebody to get there.
We're getting the official word left thumb discomfort for Peralta. Johnny Peralta. There's Brian Pena. Peralta trying for a fairly quick inning. He's needed just 7 pitches.
Nice efficient inning.
I'd buy him another.
Big good thing to have right now. He has 73 pitches.
It's more than he threw in his last start, so hasn't thrown more than 90 at all this year. Brault has a base hit today. Gave up a 2-out walk in the 3rd, and Holiday singled in a run. We'll keep tabs on Brault. Another 2-out Cardinals hit. Brings up Cardinal pitcher to Brian Pena with his first hit of the season in 6 at bats. Leak no automatic final out.
Nope. No matter what his numbers are in the season, what he's doing, you gotta treat him like he's just another hitter up there. Somebody else in the lineup.
.210 career hitter. There's plenty of middle infielders and catchers probably would aspire for that number.
A lot of pitchers, they'll look at that 200 mark like a regular player will look at the 300 mark. You know, they can get into the 200s. They know they're doing well.
2 on, 2 out for the Cardinals. You get a point here at the ball game, Bob, that you keep it at 2-0. You've stayed in the ball game, right? Kept your club in the ball game. If it starts getting beyond this, Ray Surridge will make a mound chat here.
And that's kind of what Ray's going to talk about right here. Say, hey, you got 2 outs, you get the pitcher hitting, even though it is league.
Now Juan Nicasio loosening.
You can't be messing around, walking league. You got Carpenter on deck. Got to go after him.
Hey, Pirates fans, you can vote for Starling Marte as the National League's All-Star as part of the final vote. You go to pirates.com/vote and cast your 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Final vote. Send Starling Marte to the All-Star Game in San Diego. Vote now. Voting ends at 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday, so get those votes in now.
Absolutely.
Get one more Pirate to join Mark Melancon in the All-Star Game.
He is having such a great season himself.
All-Star Game a week
send him
from
to
tonight.
San Diego. Get him down there.
Yeah, a week from tonight. It would be Marte's first trip. 2 on, 2 out, 2-0 Cardinals. And 2 swings and misses after the conversation.
Threw fastballs by him that first time.
Now full on Leake. And if you lose him, you got Matt Carpenter next. The All-Star and one of the leading hitters in the National League. You want to get Leake here. Now, if Starling Marte can get into the All-Star game, here's who he's got to beat out for part of the final vote. Brandon Belt of the Giants, the first baseman. Ryan Braun, the outfielder for the Brewers. Jake Lamb, the young third baseman for Arizona, and Trevor Story, the rookie shortstop, who has been quite a sensation. And it ends up going in favor of Brault. He gets a big strikeout to end the 4th and keep this game at 2-0. As we move to the 5th inning. On this hot night, Stephen Brault taking off his jersey top, trying to get a new fresh one. 82 pitches through 4 innings. Looks like he's going to be done for the night.
Very exciting to be able to say hi to your family as you're walking out to warm up for the first time in the big leagues, and then first time at the plate. Get that base hit. Good start to his career.
And has kept the club in the ball game. And yeah, after thinking he might be able to go up for another, he's very seldom surpassed this pitch count so far.
You know, I was thinking when you were talking about this a while ago, that with pitch counts becoming such a big part of the game over the last decade or so, and it seems to be they're becoming even more and more important. You know, guys are getting 90, 100 most. I wonder if baseball would ever go to a 26-man roster so they can carry that extra bullpen guy. Because, like, you know, think of our situation right now with the Pirates. You know, you had a 5 1/3 something start last night. It seems like you're having to cover an inning more than you were a decade ago.
Oh, sure. There's no seams about it. It's true.
It might even be way more than a decade ago, but you know what I'm saying.
Extra bases for David Freese. A leadoff double, and that's what the Pirates need.
The reason I bring that up is it would take some stress off some of those bullpen guys' arms to be able to have one extra guy down there. Fastball right at the very top of the strike zone. Letters. That's where Freese likes to hit the ball. He loves to drive it the other direction. He stays off the plate a lot like J-Hay does, and then kind of moves in toward the strike zone as that pitch comes in. A little bit of an old school look to their approaches.
Freese now 12 for 24 lifetime against Mike Leake. 500. Hey, going back to what you said about the expanded rosters, I'm sure with this collective bargaining agreement that comes up at the end of this season.
Well, with the American League, it's not that big of a deal. I
was just going to say,
when we play those guys, they have an extra man in the bullpen.
There's a base hit. And Freese will come in to score on the RBI single by Josh Harrison. Pirates on the board. It's 2-1. So some quick offense after being very sleepy against Mike Leake.
Fastball down and in. And J-Hay just, it's really easy to get the head of the bat to the ball that's down. You got that real quick path that you can swing the bat. When it's up a little bit and in, you have to get that bat around so much faster to get the head of the bat to the baseball as opposed to down and in. And so that's what you saw J-Hay do there. Just kind of drop the head of the bat down toward the baseball. Very quick to it to hit that line drive.
So the Pirates striking quickly for a run here. Still nobody out. And just to wrap up what you're saying a minute ago about, you know, will baseball maybe expand rosters? We're missing the days of having kind of that pinch runner on the bench, or maybe that just pure defensive player that really can't hit a whole lot, and like you said, the extra man in the bullpen.
That's because they've expanded the bullpens as far as they can with a 25-man roster at the expense of the bench. But they would like even another guy. Like if you look at the American League, I noticed when we were playing them, they have an extra, because they don't really need a bench. So they go ahead and put an extra guy in their bullpen.
Harrison is on the move, and he'll get in. Stolen base number 14.
Got it easily.
Ryan Pena below average in terms of his caught stealing throughout his career.
Jay even took the time to get a little peek in to see what was going on over his shoulder.
Jordy Mercer with a base hit to the outfield. Might tie this thing up. They'll move the runner.
See Lake bring his glove back. He knew somebody was there, so he decided not to get involved. He was originally he was going to try and make that stab that one, and then thought better of it. That's a veteran move there. Watch Lake's glove. Goes out. See, I kind of went with it there a little bit.
Savvy move. Eric Fryer now with a chance in his second go around with the Pirates in his first game to drive in the run with that infield in. I was going to say that if there's ever a chance of you getting the DH removed, that would be the way that they'd have to do it, because you'd have to create more jobs for the Players Association in order for them to give up the DH, right?
Yeah.
There's your hope. And there's your base hit from Eric Fryer, driving in the tying run, and the Pirates have come back to knot it at 2.
Hey, you bring in that infield, it's always tough for those guys to move laterally, so any kind of a hard hit ground ball, unless you're unlucky enough to hit it right at somebody, you're going to get that hit. Here it is. But to finish up our conversation about this, is it, I don't think that would happen, because the DH is an extremely high paying job as opposed to the 26th guy on a roster who's probably going to make close to the minimum, where a DH could be a guy on a multi-year $100 million contract if he's a good DH. So that's a tough job for the Players Association ever to give up.
Here's baseball's leading pinch hitter, Matt Joyce, batting for Brault. Matt Joyce leading all major league pinch hitters in every category: hits, home runs, RBIs.
So much depth on this, talking about benches, the Pirates bench. It has just been an amazing story this year about how guys can just interchange and in and out, and you know, it's not just, you know, holding the fort while the regular, or quote unquote regular, is off the field. It's the bench guys that seem to always do as good or better than whoever they're replacing for the night. The pinch hitting has been just amazing, as you just mentioned with Joyce.
If Joyce had enough at bats, he'd be leading the National League in on base percentage instead of Matt Carpenter, and he would be 4th in slugging percentage. You know, ahead of many of these guys that got named All-Stars today. Through Pena, and Fryer will move into second. Now remember, and it's going to be called a wild pitch.
You can call that a wild pitch, but if I was still keeping score, I would write down pass ball on my card.
Did you give up? That was a good game. I remember that one.
I haven't kept scoring.
You started to the other day.
Yeah, I lasted about 3 innings.
No Molina tonight. Just getting a day off. So now Leake, who had been rolling through the first 4 innings, has given up 3 hits in the frame. And now a runner in scoring position with 1 out for Joyce. Three and 1 on him. He's done a great job this year at drawing walks. You remarked the other day at some of these pitches that he can lay off are razor thin margins outside the strike zone. Now full on him. Had a foul to give there. John Jaso would be next. Fryer at second. We'll see another 3-2. Fryer not a bad base runner. On this hot night in St. Louis. Get Fryer over, and did it draw him off the bag? Oh, I think it may have.
Yeah, Nick Leyva is thinking it may have also.
The call is out.
Wants the Pirates to take a peek at this one.
The call is that Joyce is out, but unless Adams came back down on the bag in time, and the Pirates are going to challenge this. He did come off. Now is he back down in time? No, he's not on the bag. That'll be an easy call to overturn. And that will put runners at first and third with 1 out for the Pirates. It's a big swing of things. Dale Scott, the crew chief, on the right. Lance Barrett working over at first base on the left. They always have the umpire who made the call and the crew chief on headset with the umpires. These are the same umpires you see in uniform that worked back in New York.
And I wonder why they just don't send the plate umpire over there to listen. He's the closest guy. Go over, talk to him.
What would be cool is if they showed it on a scoreboard, you know, back in New York, what they're looking at, kind of. Here's another great look from the Allegheny Health Network Super Bowl, and that you can see a little bit of daylight there. There's another angle that shows it even clearer than that. But, this one's going to get overturned. surprised it's taken this long. They have to shuffle through a bunch of different angles, and until they find the right one. And again, this one is also on national television tonight, so they have a third set of angles from which to draw. You get the opportunity to see every such angle. There's Stephen Brault, who's done after 4 innings tonight. Gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned.
What I don't understand though about all the different things like that, as soon as you see one that shows daylight, why look at any more?
Right, that confirms that the call should be overturned.
Yeah, so you shouldn't even have to look at all the angles.
Yeah.
After that first one.
He's safe. The call is overturned.
It would just speed things up, I think, if we just, okay, oh yeah, his foot's off the base, okay, yep, safe, and not look at all of them. And as soon as you freeze one of these looks to where the ball is hitting the glove and his foot's off the base, that should be the end of it.
So Joyce will reach on the throwing error by Carpenter. Friars at third now. Runners at the corners with 1 out for Jaso. And the runners coming home. Fryer in a rundown. Still in that rundown. Finally tagged out. It goes 3-2-5-3-6-3. And that's as good as you can run a rundown.
Well, this is exactly what you're supposed to do in this scenario here. You got to you break for the plate, and then when you see you're going to be out easy, you throw on the brakes, you get in a rundown, make them chase you for a little while, and let everyone else move up. So now you really haven't lost anything. It's second and third. You know, I mean, that's perfect. You couldn't do it any better than that, as you said. That is you look up Baseball 101 and the different scenarios that can come up. That's how you're supposed to handle that one when you're a runner at third. Beautifully done.
So second and third with 2 outs. There's Gregory Polanco. Pirates have a chance to take a lead here with a 2-out hit. Polanco has bounced out twice. Field ready to get that windmill going. It's been an eventful inning, but Leake's still only needing 18 pitches so far in this frame. He's been very efficient this evening. He's ahead 0-2 on Polanco. It takes strike 3 with 2 men aboard. They're left stranded, but the Pirates get the 2 tying runs here in the 5th. here as we go to the bottom of the 5th. And this warm night turning to darkness here. Look at the National League East standings now. The Marlins aren't going away. They got 4 All-Stars named today. And very much in the thick of things for a postseason hunt.
And Stanton is heating up after kind of a tough start to his season. Starting to hit those long home runs. Take a look at Nicasio's numbers on this season. They're can be a little deceptive because he's done a fine job since coming back and going into that bullpen. He struck out the side last night with 9 pitches.
Yeah, an immaculate inning, something that has been coined of late. And since they've been keeping track of pitches over the last 30 years or so, the Pirates have done it 3 times. He's got the top of the order. Carpenter, Diaz, and Holiday. Stephen Braun goes 4 innings, but he strikes out Leake to end the 4th, and that really was a telltale sign of what could have been and what didn't become of this game, and the Pirates answer with 2 to really emphasize that.
Yeah, he just needed to be a little more efficient. If the pitch count for him is going to be a little on the low side, that to get through 5 innings, he's going to have to throw fewer pitches per inning, obviously.
And he gets Leake there with 2 men on and 2 outs and keeps it a 2-0 game. Pirates coming right back to tie it. Even if they took the lead, he would have been ineligible for the win, not going 5 innings. And to build on what you're saying, Bob, about Nicasio, you know, yesterday pitching an inning in the 3rd and having that inherited runner brought across. He had walked Wong with 1 out. That's the only run that he's allowed since moving to the bullpen full time, and he strikes out Carpenter to start the 5th. Make your Friday a free shirt Friday. This Friday, the Bucks take on the Cubs on Friday at 7:05. If you're one of the first 20,000 fans on Friday through the gates, and you'll receive a free Starling Marte Gold Glove T-shirt presented by Root Sports. For tickets, go to pirates.com/free shirt Friday. That's coming up on Friday. And now Diaz, who walked twice against Braun. But yeah, Nicasio's done a nice job of going back to the bullpen and
kind of a jack of all trades. He was pitching in the 9th trying to get a save last night, and here he's coming into the 5th on the next night.
And trying to pick up some innings too, I'm sure. Worked in relief with the Dodgers last year, but prior to that, a career starting pitcher coming up through the Rockies system and with the Rockies. Slow ground ball, and Harrison with a valiant try, but Diaz is aboard.
A heck of a job by J-Hay. Just to make that one close off the end of the bat like that. That's going to be a tough out to get on somebody that can run it all.
We're seeing this every night now from Harrison, it seems, lately.
Yeah, he went up on top of his head last night on a similar play.
So a 1-out base runner. And Holiday has driven in 1 of the 2 runs, singling his last time back in the 3rd. Diaz has already stolen a base tonight. He's got 3 now. Why do you think Nicasio, so far in this, what, 6 innings or so as a reliever, why do you think he's been more effective?
Well, it's not one thing. I'm sure there's a number of things that you could probably figure out about it. But one of the, and this is not just about Nicasio, but just about anybody. When you see, somebody that doesn't have success as a starter and does it in the bullpen, one of the things, especially if it's a left-handed pitcher, but not necessarily, it could be righties too, you always have to remember when someone starts a ball game, the opposing manager puts players in that lineup that he thinks are best suited to hitting you. Like you're going to look with Nicasio out there, you're going to get as many left-handers in there as you possibly can. When you come out of the bullpen, it's the opposite. Now it's your manager that's trying to pick the matchups for you. And this always can't be the case, but a lot of times he's bringing you into a game to pitch to certain hitters. A lot of times it's just for a couple outs or whatever, going after those guys that he thinks you can get out. So a lot of times as a reliever, you're in a better situation as far as who you're facing.
And Matt Holliday hit on the left hand with that pitch.
Trying to throw fastball inside. You see Fryer set up in there. Ball just got away a little bit, rode up and in. Holliday starting his hands forward, kind of moving them right in front of the path of that baseball.
At least appears that he'll be okay. We'll see as the game progresses. The Cardinals already have lost Johnny Peralta because of left thumb discomfort. And putting Brandon Moss on the disabled list today with a left ankle sprain. So Cardinals all of a sudden racking up the injuries.
Another thing about Nicasio, and I'll be interested as the season goes along, at some point, maybe in a few weeks, I'd be interested to look at these numbers as average fastball velocity to see if there's any difference. And so far, just from the eye test, I don't think that you see a lot of difference between his velocity. But in a couple of weeks, when he's got plenty of relief appearances under his belt, that would be something to look at and see exactly what the difference is between the average speed of the fastball as a starter and as a reliever. And it's not just the fastball, that average velocity on the fastball kind of affects everything else. But I don't think he's really pitched enough in relief to where we can really look at those numbers and be convinced at him yet as far as the velocity is concerned. Needs a few more outings.
Now ahead 1-2. Typically you see that sometimes that spike in velocity.
Yeah, that's,
not always,
that's typically what you see from a reliever. But I noticed when he was starting that a lot of times his worst velocity inning was the first inning, and he would throw harder as the game would go along.
He was already throwing hard in the mid-90s, so I don't know how much harder you can throw.
There was a game in Detroit. You remember that one where he threw like 100 pitches in 3 innings, where he was hitting, I think, 96, 97 in his last inning, where he really, I mean, he's a big, strong man. I mean, he could take a lot of innings, a lot of pitches.
6'4", 250. Not counting the chain. And he gets a pop up here. There's the second out. This is yesterday when Juan Nicasio brought in the 8th inning. And if you've ever seen one of these, not all that common. These days they're called an immaculate inning. 9 pitches, 9 strikes, everybody down in order. And Nicasio able to do that yesterday. Only 2 other times.
Molina didn't agree there, did he?
Yeah. Ross Ollendorf in 09 and Jeff Robinson back in 1987. And again, that's since pitches have been kept, so it may have happened prior to that time. So we apologize if Vic Willis did it in the turn of the last century and we didn't know about it.
May have, you never know.
Matt Adams has come into the game earlier today, back for Johnny Peralta, who left with left thumb discomfort. And Nicasio ahead 2 strikes. 95. Pirates have just tied it in the top half of this inning. RBI singles by Harrison and Fryer. Got a good stop there by Fryer.
Pretty good velocity on that breaking pitch. That was 90 miles an hour on a breaking ball.
Hard slider, yeah.
He would have been able to get that close. He would have probably got a chase. Strike 3. We'd like to bounce this maybe just a couple inches in front of the glove, but put it a foot or so out in front of home plate. Tough to get a swing out there.
Eric Fryer in his first game as a Pirate this time around. Played all season with the Cardinals prior. 2 on, 2 out. And he struck him out. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Nicasio. They'll strand a pair of Cardinals and through 5. Knotted at 2 here in St. Louis.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Tracks and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Barrel. Check out the Barrel Hot List at barrel.com. Now the only way to buy a car. Let's go Fox!
Nightfall setting in here in St. Louis. A hot, sultry summer night. 2-2. Pirates and the Cardinals. Pirates taking game 1 of this series. Pirates coming in winning 5 in a row. Pirates have won 8 of their last 10 and have pulled to within a game and a half of these Cardinals, who reside in second place in the National League Central. Pirates back over 500 as well, and Andrew McCutchen has 2 hits tonight. So 2 hits for McCutchen, and now Starling Marte will try his hand. And Mark Melancon, who was named an All-Star today, tweeting out on our Point Park tweets to try to encourage everybody to vote for Starling Marte to send him to the All-Star game in San Diego. Melancon's 3rd trip to the Midsummer Classic, and Marte part of that final vote where you still have an opportunity to get a second Pirate into the game. Melancon is in, named as a National League reserve.
Send him to that big fiesta in San Diego. Make it a Marte party.
I like that. Pirates.com/vote, and you just got a few days to vote, so get him in. One of 5 contestants for that final spot. McCutchen was picked off back at the 1st, so Leake will keep him honest again. Skids right between the legs of Pena.
No decision here on whether it's a wild pitch or fastball.
Oh, maybe he didn't know what was coming. How does that happen? Is there a miscommunication of some sort, or?
I just think he missed it.
Yeah. Okay. There you have it.
I mean, I don't know. I just think he did.
Yeah.
Now, with a runner at second, yeah, that happens a lot. But with a runner at first, it's just one sign.
Yeah, 1 fastball, right?
Yeah.
Second ball that has gotten away from.
Now, I
Pena
have had
today.
a catcher come out to me to hand me the ball in that same scenario there, and I've said to him as soon as he got there, I'm like, hey, I didn't cross you up. And he goes, yeah, I know, but now everyone else thinks you did. Turned around and went back.
And Pena came out to.
Yeah, exactly.
Go out there with Leake.
Like, I didn't cross you. Yeah, but
hey,
now,
fooled me.
But now everyone else thinks you did.
I got to do that, right?
That was Mike LaValliere that did that to me.
Oh,
I got to throw that name out there.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
It's good seeing him around spring training. It was neat to meet him. My first time meeting him.
Many times he would come out there and he'd say something that just it would make you laugh, and maybe just kind of laugh on the inside a little bit. Got to keep it loose sometimes. Pitchers have a tendency to get all stressed out, and he could de-stress you.
Take thrown out, but McCutchen moves to 3rd with 1 away, so a productive out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you need to do in that scenario. Get that runner to 3rd.
2 strikes on him.
You know, a lot of times when guys will get to 2 strikes and they'll say, okay, heck with it, I got to hit for myself now. I'm not going to try and hit this ball the other way because I don't want to get out of my normal swing. But other guys will say, to heck with that, I'm moving that runner, and that's what Marte did there. He did everything he could, even with 2 strikes. Make sure he hit that ball to the right side and get the go-ahead run over at 3rd, make their infield come in.
And infield in with 1 out. Fly ball could get the Pirates their first lead.
See how far Freese is off the plate when he gets in there and gets set, especially that back foot. It's really it gets closer to the Pirate dugout.
And it's chopped through, a base hit. McCutchen is in, and David Freese with an RBI single puts the Pirates on top.
Twice now the Pirates have been able to take advantage of that drawn in infield. Right down the middle.
Why do teams do this? Why do they bring in the infielders in certain situations?
Well, if they play back, yeah, they're going to get the out, but they're going to give up the go-ahead run. They don't want to do that. It's just a choice you make. Now, a lot of times early in a ball game, first few innings, they won't do that. They'll give up the run. Say, heck, we'll give up you the run. We just want the out.
Line hard to center.
But as you get further toward the end of the ball game, here we are, in the sixth. It's kind of harder to say, okay, I'll let them tie the game, or let them take the lead, and just trade a run for an out.
Outs are more precious. Fewer and fewer of those available. And less and less chance to score later in the game.
Marte gets nothing on his stat line at all, except an at bat, which is going to
a negative
break the batting
theory.
average down. Yeah, but he had a big part of the team taking the lead here. He put the team ahead of himself. Now, just because you try to hit the ball to right field doesn't mean you can't get a base hit that way either. I mean, it's not like you're totally giving yourself up.
Jordy Mercer hits it to the gap. Freese gets into third. He'll hold there, and it's a stand-up double for Jordy Mercer with 2 outs. The Pirates bats coming alive the last couple of innings against Mike Leake.
Pirate bullpen will get going right now. What they'll do with Fryer.
Now a chance here, second and third. Pirates had this with 2 outs in the 5th inning after scoring twice. Left him stranded. One more big 2-out hit here could really make a difference. Derek Fryer has already come through after McCutchen has scored. Fryer with that run scoring single his last time up.
Yeah, they are going to pitch to him. Frazier's on deck. He would be the pinch hitter for Nicasio.
Ball 1 to Fryer.
Caminero in the bullpen.
There he is.
Just got up. Haven't really thrown too many yet.
Where?
Just an inning and a third scoreless yesterday. Fryer, who has caught Leake all season, now gets to face him for a third time. Leake in a jam again. Pirates have taken their first lead. They have come from behind in their last 4 victories to win. They're coming from behind again tonight. Called a little low, 2-1.
Just put this right at the very bottom edge of the strike zone, but did not get the call.
2 on in scoring position with 2 outs. And Fryer
be fair.
Hits this one a foot fair. Freese and Mercer will score on the double by Fryer. Pirates up 5-2.
What a huge hit that is. Your first time going against your ex-mates to have a 3 RBI night. Jammed him pretty good with it, but he's able to fight it off and just keep it fair, and also shows some of that athleticism, turning this into a 2-base hit. Fantastic night for Fryer.
First game as a Pirate since September 10th, 2012. Had that great rundown as well. That could have set up more runs. And now with the margin at 3, they'll leave in Nicasio because of what Eric Fryer could do. Try to soak up some more innings. That's a huge pair of hits tonight from Fryer.
I wonder if the Cardinals are kicking themselves for not loading the bases there.
You suggested that.
Well, I thought it's something they might do. For one thing, you're in a 4-game series. You got into the bullpen in the 6th inning the night before. You got into the bullpen after 4 innings tonight.
The cumulative effect,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So, but they passed up that chance, and now Nicasio can continue to pitch and do it with a 3-run lead to boot.
Mike Leake's pitch count over 80 now. Pirates have scored all their runs in the last couple of innings. And one thing that they teach the Pirates pitchers when they bat, if you can get a 5-pitch at bat, you know, if you're a starting pitcher and you come up 3 times, you've stolen an inning from the opposing starting pitcher. So that was the 5th pitch, or this is the 5th pitch, I should say, to Nicasio here. He stays in. Pirates get 3, bidding for another come from behind win. Here in the 6th, they're up 5-2.
Really good. $5-2 as we hit the bottom of the 6th. Chad Kuhl, the man on your right, sitting with Jameson Tyone. He's the guest on tonight's edition of Twitter Tuesday. He was asked by Susie Kuhl, Chad, what was your coolest nickname growing up?
I think in Little League and travel ball, it was Kool-Aid. I think that was cool. When I was a travel ball, you know, I've heard the cool runnings, cool whip, all that, but I think Kool-Aid was my favorite.
He also mentioned Too Cool for School being some of the coolest nicknames that he had that he got in college. But Susie Kuhl, we can let her get away with the cool punch, Joe and Bob, because she shares the same name, different spelling. She's also a Pirates ball girl. Does a fantastic job working at PNC Park for the Buccos. So from one cool to another, I'm sure they appreciate these nicknames that I'm sure they both had growing up.
Well, thanks, Robbie. Yeah, Susie also a social media intern here with Root Sports, part of our broadcast. Whenever you see all those great tweets, she helps organize that. Cool whip. I was blockhead. What'd you get for a walk?
I don't know. I'm sure that
Bob walked down the street.
I pushed those out of my mind.
Ha ha ha. That kind of stuff. on Nicasio. Working with a 3-run lead now. And Kevin's also working tonight, is helping out with social media. And he wrote that fantastic article about Mike Lang and featured Greg Brown in it as well just a little bit ago, talking about the 30th anniversary. Kevin Wheeler writing that 30th anniversary of Greg Brown's first call for the Pirates. All the great things that Mike Lang did in his time announcing with the Pirates. One of those was to get Greg Brown on the air for the first time, and he's been here for such a long time now. It's been so wonderful to get to work with him and with you, Bob.
Well, thank you. It's awfully nice to have Nicasio out there for this extra inning, as long as it goes well and he can finish this off. This will be a nice little boost to the bullpen.
And the Pirates were pitching last night without Melanson available, without Watson, without Schugel available, and they still won with Caminero, Nicasio, and Feliz to close it. There's Greg Brown working over on the radio side tonight. Very sturdy chair there. I believe he's in. It's not contagious.
That wall's awfully close to him. He can't fall over. He'll hit the wall with his head.
We were worried about you that night. Oh, hey.
There's an extra chair there in case one of them gives out. That's mandatory now in all of our radio booths.
Standing by.
You realize that since I fell out of the chair, we haven't lost a game.
Someone pointed that out on Twitter last night.
Now you're seeing I'm leaning back in this chair.
Safety first, Bob.
Hey, no, I'm a lean back guy. I'm a lean back guy. See, now every time they say, "Oh, come into the booth," then I got to sit up.
Yeah.
But most of the time, I'm leaning back like this.
Gonna violate your health insurance or something in there. I don't know. Yeah, someone pointed that out on Twitter. They even made a graphic of you falling off the chair, pointing out that the Pirates have not lost since then. Hey, whatever works.
Absolutely.
The Angels had the rally monkey, and Pirates have the falling walk.
If that's what it takes, once a week, I'll go over backwards.
Now behind 2-1 on Tommy Pham.
Still throwing hard. 95 upstairs.
On a very warm night here in St. Louis. Fans trying to cool off with the wave.
That was a pretty good slider in a decent spot. I'm surprised that Pham didn't at least kind of have to check his swing on that one.
And a 1-out walk. There's the wave. And this is what happened about a week ago. Oh man, that's still funny. Is he okay? Is he okay?
And now everyone knows that I take my shoes off during the game.
Is he okay? Let us know. Let us know. Yeah.
I have my shoes on.
Oh, okay.
It's only radio that I take my shoes off.
I don't get you sometimes, and I like it. That's how we knew you were okay.
I couldn't get up because the chair was stuck on top of me, so I had to have Greg to help me up. I was wedged in there.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Still can't get up. Come on, Greg, help me up, will you?
Fryer will keep it in front of him. You know, the best part about that is I was talking on the radio today about what happened with that, and
I just want to show everybody I started springing my step.
But you wanted to show off. You wanted to show off. There's Lloyd behind there. You wanted to show off that you did the Rivers Casino tips
right.
to win.
I did them even though I was on radio. I did them for TV that day, and they turned out to be pretty good.
And so you were trying to kind of be cool and show off because you knew why we were showing you.
And I knew that, so I was just going to lean back, put my feet up.
And that was live that happened. Jaso decides to go to first and get a sure out.
And the guy's here with the double tap over there. He wanted to make sure he got that bag. No reviews.
Jaso's thinking about second.
Well, this is a good decision. You know, you have the big lead. You have a nice, comfortable lead. Just get it out every time. You mentioned earlier, as you get later in the game, you start running out of outs. So when you have the lead, just, you know, be a little conservative on defense and get outs every time. Don't try to make the trick play. Now, the Cardinals, on the other hand, they can't afford to fall any further behind. On a similar type ball, they got to go to second with that. You have to play defense with a different mindset if you're 3 runs down or 3 runs up, and it's getting later in the game.
And because the Cardinals are trailing, they got a pinch hit for Leake after 83 pitches. And they're going to use Garcia to bunt here. It looked like, I guess, 2 outs. What's he? Not really sure what that was about.
Maybe he's just taking a pitch. Some guys will do that when they decide, okay, I'm going to take a pitch, try and keep the third baseman in close.
Freeze a step behind the bag at third off the line. Now even up. Mike Leake went 6 innings. Gave up 5 runs. Brett Garcia waits on the 1-1. Right to first. And Jaso retires the Cardinals pinch hitter. So 1-out walk left stranded. And Tyler Lyons coming on for St. Louis. Here's how we got here back in the 5th inning. Eric Fryer in his first game this time around with the Pirates, his first career Pirates run batted in. And then with 1 out in the 6th, David Freese driving in McCutchen. That gave the Pirates their first lead, and they would grow the lead thanks to that 2-run, 2-out, 2-strike double by Fryer. He's driven in 3 tonight, and his bat has been the difference. Stephen Brault in his major league debut able to go 4 innings, keeping the ball club in the game.
Yeah, he could go more, but I'm sure they took him out because of the 82 pitches. That's because he was pitching well enough. Just noticed looking back at that all the runs that we have were knocked in by ex-Cardinals tonight.
Oh, is that right? Good eye there. With the exception of Harrison back in the 5th, which we did not show, but yeah, 4 of the 5. Hey, still that's a pretty big number. Sean Rodriguez is pinch hitting for John Jaso here.
Sorry, Jay, I forgot about you.
Number 5 in your scorebooks, but number 1 in our hearts.
Yeah, that's right.
So Rodriguez, a right-handed batter against the lefty Lions, just brought in by Matheny.
Lions numbers. Eight home runs in 36 innings. Seems like a pretty big number, doesn't it?
Yeah, that is very large. He strikes out Rodriguez, though. Mike Matheny does not have his normal lefty specialist, Derek Lilliquist, pitching coach. But Kevin Segras recovering from mono, so the normal lefty specialist not available. Lions the lone lefty. And that's usually where he sits in the bullpen. He'll be back soon. So fatigued by mono that sent home to recover, put on the disabled list. Bob, you okay over there?
That wasn't me. That was not me.
Okay, all right. Just making sure you're still on the chair there. We're just talking about it.
Here, listen. That was me.
What are you doing?
Playing with a fan.
Is it
We have a homemade air conditioning system going on.
Oh, you mean an actual rotating fan? I thought you meant a patron.
Check this out. No. This is an air conditioner.
What do you?
We have a cold bottle of water taped to the fan.
With a like a little string tied to it.
That's what the noise was, but it's nice air conditioning.
You invented that during the game tonight. Wow.
Yeah. No, I didn't invent it.
Oh. Wow, that's
nice.
It's really something.
Oh, it feels so good. Keeps me on my feet.
Polanco with a drive to left, but Holiday with room. And 2 up and 2 down in the Pirates' 7th. Here's our day automotive this day in Pirates history. Back in 2013, Francisco Liriano tossing a gem against the Cubs at Wrigley. 2 runs on 4 hits in his second career complete game. He walked 4, struck out 7, and needed 111 pitches to navigate all 9 against the Cubs. And there is Liriano. Due up to face the Cubs again on Friday back at PNC Park. 10-pitch inning for Tyler Lyons, who retires the side in order. Hey, you deserve to stretch. Pirates leading 5-2. The Night Sweats on July 26th coming to Stage AE. Beautiful images there on our Allegheny Health Network Supermo. Sean Rodriguez staying in the game over at first base after pinch hitting for Jaso.
Camanero's turn now to see what he can do. Nice job by Nicasio. Caminero, since his return off the disabled list, has found his control, his command, and has pitched very well.
Matt Carpenter batting for the 4th time tonight. Juan Nicasio, a couple of scoreless innings. And so Nicasio now, since joining the Pirates bullpen full time, 1 run in 8 1/3 innings, and that run came in yesterday as an inherited runner that was brought in. So great stretch of ball from Nicasio. Caminero has also been fantastic of late.
Carpenter not liking that last call.
Named to his 3rd All-Star team today, Carpenter, the lone Cardinals representative.
Carpenter slamming his bat to the ground as he was going to first base. He is not happy with that at bat.
He's 0 for 4 tonight is Carpenter. And so now Caminero, who since coming off the disabled list, coming into tonight an ERA of 1.29. That's what he's done lately. Look at those strikeout numbers. And the walks, none.
That is what's impressive with it. Being able to not walk anybody. Throw the ball where he wants to. Make use of that amazing right arm of his.
Right to Polanco.
Fastball 101.
Now that's about the hardest we've seen him throw too here in that at bat since he's come off the DL. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Two up and 2 down against Caminero. And Holiday singled in a run back in the 3rd. Caminero saying in the paper the other day, he says he's just more confident now, and that's about it. Just try not to worry about much.
Well, if that means he's throwing more strikes, and that's what it is.
Another 101.
That's the big difference. I mean, everybody that I think has watched this season unfold and compared to what happened last year when he was so good his rookie season, there was a point this year where he was having a hard time throwing it literally where the catcher could catch it. And that was just before he went on the disabled list, and now he's come back and he has been outstanding. The ball's going where he wants to now.
And routinely hitting 101. Started Holiday off with a slider at 95. Now you see why the Pirates wanted to make sure they give him another chance.
Yeah, you want to have some patience.
Fryer with a nice play. And a 1-2-3 inning from Caminero, looking dominant in the 7th.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Kenny Ross, Total Confidence Pricing, and by Levin Furniture, the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
We go to the 8th inning in St. Louis. Pirates have a 5-2 lead. Trying for their 6th consecutive win. And they had to come from behind to get this lead. They've been doing that. This would be the 5th time in a row if they can hold on to win tonight.
Well, when you're playing as well as they are, it's the only fair thing to do. Really, you spot the team, the other team, a couple runs just to make it fair. Then you come back and beat them. A little different role than we've seen Rosenthal in the past. His ERA and the opponent batting average, the walks, I mean, everything reflects the fact that he is having a very poor season.
Taken out of the closer's role just recently, and was starting to fare better out of the 9th inning. Pitched back on Sunday and did not retire a batter. So is the closer for now. Mike Matheny has not named Sung-Hwan Oh the closer, but he has come in all the save opportunities since Rosenthal was deposed. So Rosenthal has been one of the best until recently, in recent years. Hey, don't forget Starling Marte, part of the final vote. And over the next couple of days, you have a chance to vote him into the All-Star game. Go to pirates.com/vote. One of 5 finalists for the National League's final spot in the All-Star game a week from tonight. And the other men on the ballot, not that you're going to vote for them. And am I allowed to tell you who to vote for?
Who you can vote against.
Yes, who are you voting against?
Yeah.
Brandon Belt of the Giants, Ryan Braun of the Brewers, Jake Lamb, who's come on and had a great season, third baseman for the Diamondbacks, Trevor Story, the rookie, who got off to that record-breaking start in Colorado. Or you can vote for your very own Starling Marte. And he wants to get a hit right here just to emphasize why he deserves to be there.
I would like to see him steal second now. add a little emphasis to that voting.
This is his stump speech, right?
Yes, right now. This is it. This is one of his campaign stops right here.
Well, probably the easiest to be elected would have been David Freese here in St. Louis. He's continued to get applause, even though he's pretty much taken down the Cardinals between he and Eric Friar this evening. Two Pirates, along with McCutchen, with a pair of hits this evening. His last drove in the go-ahead run back in the 6th. Also was doubled tonight. Guessing that Marte would run first pitch. Do you ever see a manager put 2 pitch outs on in a row?
Yep. Seen it done.
The manager that did it most probably is in the house. Marte was running there. Is that about the best time you can go right after a pitch out? You're pretty much sure that odds of that second one coming are pretty low, right?
Pretty low. Doesn't happen very often. If that's what you're worried about, the pitch out.
Marte's going to have to try again. He's stolen 24 bases. We're just past the halfway point of the season. So 40, very reasonable number. Kind of slow down usually as the year goes on. Legs get tired.
Unless this was the late 70s, early 80s, 90s, then guys just keep running. They push 100 back then. Vince Coleman.
Oh yeah,
Brock,
110 in a season
in
for
this
Coleman.
place.
Marte running again. Pitches a strike. Throw is high and late. Marte was stolen base number 25.
Omar Moreno. They wouldn't quit running. Like Jay Hay, took time, take a quick peek. Most guys won't do that. They'll just keep their head down. Twice now tonight, you've seen that.
Trying to get Starling Marte into the All-Star game a week from tonight. Pirates.com/vote. Part of that final vote.
If you're on the fence and he scores here, you have to go vote right then.
And you can vote multiple times too, so don't be shy. Get those final votes in. Just a few days to do it. Now base hit here with nobody out. Turn this into a 4-run advantage.
Freese is going to hit this ball to the right side. That was a good one to hit that way.
Hard away, right?
Yeah, frozen.
You know, the question that often is asked when a guy's playing his former team, who has the advantage? Sometimes you probably outthink yourself if you know the pitcher pretty well, right? Eric Friar doing a good job of that, though, tonight.
You can argue that easily both directions.
Right. Here's Harrison. He's driven in a run tonight. Pirates on top 5-2 in the 8th. Rick Schofield hoping to get busy down there at third. Marte with very good speed. Base hit could do it. Watson getting loose after Caminero issued a 1-2-3-7.
Yeah, this will be according to the formula. Watson in the 8th. The All-Star in the 9th.
I don't know if Marte could do this, but maybe. Reds' Billy Hamilton today scored from second on a pass ball. Talking about the
Marte can do it.
Speed. He's going to get to third. He has the play. We've seen a pass ball. We've seen a wild pitch from the Cardinals. And we've seen some 2-out hits, so one of those can bring home Marte. Jordy Mercer doubled his last time up. Pirates with 10 hits. Pirates going for their 6th consecutive win. If the Pirates win tonight, don't look now, they would be a half game behind the Cardinals as they continue to move up.
Traded places a couple of times with the Cardinals this year. Led the Cardinals for a while. Cardinals caught him.
Reds beat the Cubs earlier today 9-5, so
a lot of baseball left to be played here. Second half of the season coming up.
78 games remain after tonight. If the Pirates were to win, they would be a half game behind the Cardinals and 9.5 back of the Cubs. All of a sudden, that doesn't seem that distant.
You know, once you can get your game behind into single digits, and there's still almost half the season left, then you're not really hitting the panic button at all.
Liriano will face the Cubs on Friday.
And the thing too about the Cubs is it looks like they've
normalized.
They've kind of lost their way a little bit.
It might be catching them at a good time. They've lost 11 of 16.
Dominant starting pitching has not been doing well.
Very interesting time here. Pirates getting hot. There's that score.
9 runs they gave up to the Reds.
Two-out chance here for Mercer. Tack on to a 3-run lead. In the air. And Pham will retire it, so that leadoff single left stranded, and Tony Watson coming on to pitch the bottom of the 8th with the Pirates on top.
subject of tonight's Twitter Tuesday. He was asked by Trevor Williams, when did you start collecting Beanie Babies, Chad?
Another fake joke, obviously. The joke is I collect Beanie Babies. I think he has a really good Furby collection. You'll have to ask him about that one, though. I'm not really sure.
So, meaning another inside joke, Justin Topa, his minor league roommate back in Bradenton, asked him about the sleepy cakes, the late night snack, and now the Beanie Babies is made up. Trevor Williams is Chad Kuhl, Jameson Towns' teammate pitching for the Indianapolis Indians. They caught wind of our tweets, and they all started having a good time with it. And you know what? Maybe when these guys get up, maybe we can have them pay them back a little bit and use our air to do so, Joe. What do you think?
I like it, Robbie. I like that the guys down on the farm who will be joining us at some point are following along.
It's all part of that, being in the clubhouse together and living with each other for 6 months. You got a little give and take. You're always getting on somebody about something, and they come back at you. It really is a fun life to be in for however long you can be down there. Great atmosphere. Make a lot of buddies. You travel around a lot. You meet a lot of different people, especially when you're in the minor leagues. I think that's when a lot of guys that are kind of up and down, and people coming in and leaving.
It's not always
and in the minor leagues also you have less money, obviously, and so you have to have those roommates. Got to stretch your
closer quarters.
Yeah, you got to stretch your dollar a little bit.
It's a fair ball. A nice play by Rodriguez. Nimbly fielding that throw from Freese. And the Pirates taking on the rival Cubs Saturday at 7:15. We invite you to head to the North Shore early for a Saturday night block party featuring the Lanacooga Bar. There's live music and more out on Federal Street. So get your tickets at pirates.com. With the second out. How about this Pirates bullpen? You go back to last night and that scoreless streak ended, that record scoreless streak of 34 1/3 innings, the longest in modern history. That means since 1900. Franchise record for most consecutive scoreless innings by the bullpen. So what
it kind of came out of nowhere either. When you think that they've still are having to pitch a lot of innings every night. We're still not at the point to where we're getting consistent starts, 6, 7, 8 innings. They are pitching a lot of innings and pitching them very, very well.
And it's not just the same, customers that
no,
we're used
it's the
to.
whole pen.
Yeah. Caminero in his last 10 games, an ERA of 1.20.
Beautiful change up there.
Nicasio, since joining the bullpen, 1 run that came in as an inherited runner in 8+ innings.
Way out front, location, everything. Really become a great weapon for Watson. 2 in a row.
Why not go back to it?
Yeah, but throw another one. Get 3 in a row, 3 swings in a row on a changeup. You know what they call it? It's immaculate changeup.
Here's the all-star closer, Mark Melancon. To the all-star team today.
Through those 2 changeups, got way out in front. Now he's got to really be defensive. Got to stay back. I can't go early on that changeup. Got to stay. Got to wait. Got to wait. Got to wait. And then he throws the fastball, and he's late getting to the fastball. That's pitching. That is destroying the timing of the hitter.
Now even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. If it gets there, Tommy Pham would follow. Watson has retired the first 2 men here in the 8th. Pirates bullpen tonight. 3 2/3 scoreless, 1 hit. Right, series has got to feel a little better. Stephen Brault tonight, 1 earned run, 2 runs over 4 innings. His pitch count got up. Starting pitching has come around and improved. We haven't seen a starter give up more than 3 runs since June 28th. Broke his bat. Rodriguez makes it a 1-2-3 inning. 8 in a row sent down by the Pirates pen. To the 9th we go. 5-2 Buccos.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And the Pirates continue this 4-game series against the Cardinals tomorrow night. Our coverage begins at 7:30 with Pirates pregame, presented by W.B. Mason, right here on Root Sports. The Pirates hope to carry a winning streak into that game tomorrow night. They've won 5 in a row and are leading 5-2 here in the 9th. Jaime Garcia will get the nod tomorrow. A pair of southpaws will twirl, with Jeff Locke going for the Buccos.
Hope his glove dries out. It's probably all sweaty.
Oh, Locke's glove, yeah. It was used tonight by Stephen Brault, who forgot his glove back in Indianapolis.
I have to hit it with a hairdryer.
Eric Fryer tonight, 3 RBIs. In his first 3 RBIs as a Pirate, even though he played parts of 2 seasons with Pittsburgh back in 11 and 12. Claimed off waivers by the Pirates, needing some catching help with Chris Stewart going on the DL from these Cardinals. And he has made them pay tonight. His RBI is the difference.
I think he's done a great job behind the plate, calling pitches.
How about that rundown too?
Yeah.
Stayed in a great rundown tonight. He's got 58 on his helmet, 24 on his back. 3 RBIs in the books. Now there's been a lot of sharing of equipment tonight.
He should have his own bat. See, all he had to do was bring him from one clubhouse to the other.
Jacob Stallings today designated for assignment to make room on the 40-man roster. Pirates using their 10th different starting pitcher today with Brault, who cannot win it. He only went 4 innings. And the Pirates did not have a lead when he was lifted. So either one of those things. Likely would be Nicasio to earn that if the Pirates hold out. Rosenthal out as being the closer. There's lock for tomorrow. Talking with Ryan Vogelsong, who pitched another simulated game. He's getting closer. He's probably ready to come back now. He's just not eligible for another 2.5 weeks. Come off the DL. Jung Ho Kang will bat for Tony Watson. And for Watson today, a perfect 1-2-3 inning. Young 4 for his last 34. And Rosenthal trying to work a 2-inning outing for the first time this season. Did it once last year. Now 2 balls and a strike. And Rosenthal ousted from that closer's role, and we talk about some of the better closers in the National League, and Rosenthal has been it for the last couple of years. But the final boss coming over from Japan, where he played last. Young with a base hit.
Likes those fastballs. That one at 99 turned it around. Remember a big home run here he hit off Rosenthal.
Let's look at our Nissan road ahead, and we mentioned Locke will go tomorrow. Going for his 9th win. Jaime Garcia, the sinker ball specialist for the Cardinals tomorrow, and then in the finale, Chad Kuhl, the rookie, going against Adam Wainwright. Kuhl beating Clayton Kershaw in his big league debut, so stature of Wainwright shouldn't faze him at all. Wainwright having an up and down season for St. Louis. One of the best in recent years as well. This one cracked into right. Probably cracked his bat too.
See how the sound of that are loud.
Sean Rodriguez flies out on the first pitch.
A little echo.
There's a resonating sound to that.
Nothing like the crack of a wooden bat.
I still can't bring myself to watch a lot of college baseball because of the sound.
It's not sound.
Yeah. Nothing against amateur athletics. I think baseball is baseball everywhere. It's cool, but
Well, not really, because there's only one place they actually play baseball. That's National League.
I like it. Get on that soapbox. Just don't fall off of it.
No, I'm not on a soapbox. I'm just making a statement.
Wow.
If I get on the soapbox, it's I'm gonna go on and make a speech, but I just throw little statements out there.
Okay. State your case.
Little nuggets.
I like it. I like where you're going with it. The senior circuit.
I was a big American League fan growing up.
Yeah, we both grew up fans of American League teams, and then we realized the light.
Got here and realized what was going on, and I was like, wow.
I remember when it happened for me.
Well, the first time I started to see it was when I was a young rookie with the Phillies, and you would go into the clubhouse sometimes for during the day, and there would be a day game on TV. It might be a game of the week or something back then, because there wasn't a lot of games on. But if it was an American League game, Pete Rose would turn it off and not allow anybody to watch it because it wasn't real baseball. And I thought about it for a while, and then I'm like, wow, he is really kind of a National League snob. And then I found out that there was a lot of them, and then I became one, and still am to this day.
And this was about 8 years, 7 or 8 years after the, or 7 years after the DH was implemented.
But that's where I first realized what was going on.
First time I ever worked for a National League affiliate in the minor leagues, I had to learn. You know, I found I didn't know really what double switches were, or a lot of that stuff. I didn't really understand it very well because I had watched so little National League ball. And I became hooked too because the strategy is fantastic.
I can't remember what it was. We were having a long discussion yesterday about who was going to do what out on the field, and then at the end of it I said, now if we were still in Oakland, we wouldn't have never even brought any of this up because it would be meaningless.
Nope, you just pull the pitcher, put in a new one.
Yeah, when they starts giving up runs, throw somebody else out there.
You want to use your bench? Fine, doesn't matter. You don't need to pinch hit down the road if you don't want to.
Apparently
they're extra players. They're not
better hitters are in the game already.
Still 2-2 on Polanco, bidding for his first hit of the night.
Nice catch, I think, by a young lady down there.
Yeah.
Nice play. Watch this grab.
I got it. I got it.
Wow, I bet you Susie Cool likes that one.
Best day of her life so far, probably, right? Got foul ball.
That wasn't an easy one. It was. She had to compete with a couple other gloves up there in the air. In the right spot, at the right time, and hold on to it. You saw in the first inning that sometimes when the ball goes in the glove, doesn't mean it's going to stick.
Polanco waiting under 3-2.
See if anybody can catch this one. I don't think so. Everybody's looking under the seat.
It's hard. I never got a ball. I never ever got one. I got one close one time. That was it. Even in the booth, sometimes when they come back, I'm hiding or protecting the electronics.
Well, we really don't get anymore. In the old days, we used to get several during the course of the year. As I got older, I quit trying to catch them and started hiding from them. There's not many booths where we can get a foul ball anymore.
On the ninth pitch of the at-bat.
It's a rope right at him.
Polanco ends the inning. And so a 3-run lead for Mark Melancon as we go to the bottom of the ninth.
Mark Melancon taking his place on the mound. Save opportunity here. 5-2 Pirates lead. And earlier today, after being named to the All-Star game, Mark Melancon had a few words of thanks for his teammates.
Special thank you to Tony Watson, who's been setting me up for the last 4 years, and Jared Hughes as well. And, obviously the rest of the bullpen, but those two guys have really stuck out. And then Clint and Ray and Yuki and Herbie helping me, keeping me in tune. It's been just an unbelievable experience, and definitely great for my career to have them around me.
Now, anybody who knows Mark Melancon knows he's a first-class human being, a great guy, a great family man, but he's also a great teammate, as evidenced by the words you just heard him say. And what a career turnaround. This is a guy who came from the Boston Red Sox in the 2012 offseason into 2013. Great move by general manager Neil Huntington to acquire him in the trade with a couple players that came along with him. Very appreciative of what a body of work he's put together. 3 All-Star teams in 4 years, Joe and Bob, in a Bucco uniform.
He's been fantastic.
You can see the numbers there. He's been an all-star first half of the season, and really kind of classy, making sure that he thanked everybody else, because you can't accumulate all those saves as a closer. You can't be that all-star type guy unless you get the opportunities and you get the help along the way. And I thought that was real nice that Mark thanked everybody, including his setup guy, Tony Watson, who always is able to, pass that baton to Mark in the 9th inning so he can try and get these saves.
Adam Frazier in the game in right for Polanco. Had a little speed out there with Polanco. Still not all the way right.
Yeah, there won't be too many times you'll see Polanco come out for defense, but not running full speed.
Pham, Pena, and a pinch hitter here are the Cardinals' 9th. Polanco done for the night, 0 for 5 today. Mark Melancon, who has been so smooth. Looking at Phillies yesterday, Phillies getting the save in Melancon instead, and Phillies, an all-star closer in the past. There was still an element of, not worry, but just
not the same.
It's just not the same. Melancon makes it so effortless seeming that if he does get into trouble, which is rare, even then you're not that alert.
The thing that I like about Mark, and I don't want to be jinxing him right now, but he never beats himself. If he does get into trouble, the other team has to do something. If they just kind of stand up there, they're going to go walk back to the dugout. He is so good with his command, his control of that cutter. He just, it's like a scalpel, just always on the edge, one side, the other side, and the umpires, they love his control. They're going to give him a little pitch now and then, but that's the way it's been forever, for 100 years. The guys with a great command, they will get the borderline calls, and that's just another part of the weapons that Melancon has. That great command will allow him to get some calls. Maybe some other guys don't deserve to get it, but he does.
Ryan Pena 1 out of 3 tonight. 1 out in the 9th. Pirates up 3, trying to win their 6th in a row.
Look at that, just right. Catching him must be pretty amazing. You hardly ever have to move your glove much. You set it where you want him to throw it, and then you're only moving it a few inches, if anything, as that ball's coming in.
The only ones that aren't laughing are the opposing hitters. It's been that way all season and beyond.
There he moves over, wants that ball right there. Boom, that's where it is. 2 pitches perfectly thrown right in a row, back to back.
He has struck out the first 2 men in the 9th. He is so good, and Melancon, you look back.
Is that pitch down and in? Right where he wanted.
You look back at Melancon, when he comes on for the save, the Pirates have won 75 consecutive times. Now he's not always converted the save, but they've gone on to win that game.
He hadn't had a blow up to where you can't win. He might occasionally, but once this year, let somebody tie it up.
Randall Grichuk just called back up today. Drove in 15 runs in 15 games down in Memphis. Brandon Moss going on the DL today with a left ankle sprain. He's the last chance for the Cardinals here in the ninth. Broke his bat, and he'll get aboard here in the ninth.
Little cutter out on the outside part of the strike zone, so it jumps onto the end of the bat, smashes it, and Grichuk able to get enough of it to just loop it in.
Now the Cardinals still don't have the tying run at the plate. Working with a 3-run lead. Matt Carpenter 0 for 4. He is the Cardinals All-Star representative. He and Melanson will be teammates a week from tonight in San Diego. But right now, anything but.
I think, Melanson is one of those relievers that likes to throw from a windup. He should just go ahead and throw from a windup.
I mean,
because they're going to let Grichuk go to second base, they're not going to try and stop him. Whatever's the most comfortable for him.
Yeah, you're not worried about Grichuk over there.
Well, Grichuk, he's going to run to second base, and there will not be a play.
3-run game in the ninth. And now 2 strikes on Matt Carpenter.
It's always been kind of unfair that you let those guys go over there in situations like this, because then if you do give up a base hit, it's an earned run. But nothing to really do about it.
The Pirates bullpen has given up 1 run over its last 40 innings.
Although I did have an idea one time about you turn and throw the ball into the stands. Then it's an error. Always thinking.
Yeah, you are. Two strikes on Carpenter. The Pirates a strike away from victory.
Just missed. This ball just dipping a little bit right at the last moment. That got underneath the knees barely. Think he's throwing the curve. Yep. Here it comes. I don't think he's throwing one this inning.
1-2 pitch. Well, the left, but playable for Marte. And the ball game is over. The Pirates have won 6 in a row, and they have come from behind for the 5th straight night to win here tonight 5-2.
Yeah, really a great job by everybody tonight, as usual, these last 5 games. But Eric Fryer, wow. How about his first night back in a Pirate uniform?
And look at this. The Pirates had come from behind to win just 8 times in April, May, and June combined. 5 in the last 5 days here to start July.
It's been a lot of fun to watch. Like I said, they're playing so well right now. They're just spotting the teams some runs and make it fair.
Pirates are the winners tonight, 5-2. More to come from Busch Stadium right after this.